The concept of parallel universes, also known as the multiverse theory, has been a topic of fascination and speculation in science and popular culture for the past few decades. This theory suggests that our universe isn't the only one. Rather, it's one of an infinite number of universes, each with its own set of physical laws, particles, and dimensions. It sounds quite impossible, and some don't like the idea that another version of themselves exists in a universe that we know nothing about. However, over the past couple of decades, there has been more and more evidence about the existence of another universe aside from ours. From the strange phenomena of déjà vu to black holes, here are 20 terrifying signals from parallel universes that scientists cannot explain. Number 20. Déjà vu. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt like you've seen the exact situation you were in before? Like you've seen the same person, heard the exact words, or done the same thing as if you were reliving a moment from your past? Confused? All you could do was shrug it off and say, déjà vu. But what really is déjà vu? It's a strange phenomenon where an individual experiences a strong feeling of familiarity or recognition in a situation or place they have never been in before. The experience can be confusing, and sometimes even unsettling, as it feels like you've been in that exact moment, when in reality, you haven't. In fact, the term déjà vu is a French term that translates to already seen. It's not a sign that something is wrong with your brain, but rather a glitch in your memory system. However, even scientists don't fully understand why it happens, but they have some theories. One theory is that déjà vu occurs when your brain tries to match what you're currently experiencing with something similar that you've stored in your memory. Sometimes, this process goes wrong and creates a false sense of familiarity. Another theory is that déjà vu happens when there's a delay in processing information between your eyes and your brain. This causes your brain to receive the same input twice, making you think that you've seen it before. But the most intriguing theory behind déjà vu is that it could be the result of a parallel universe. The idea of a parallel universe suggests that there's an alternate version of reality coexisting with our own. In one of these parallel universes, a person may have lived a similar life to ours, with the same experiences and memories. When we experience déjà vu, we could be tapping into these parallel memories, causing us to feel a sense of familiarity. That time when you thought you had already met someone you've never seen before might be because your other self in a different universe already met them. However, some scientists argue that déjà vu could simply be caused by a glitch in the brain, where the brain's processing system briefly malfunctions, causing it to misinterpret new information as familiar. To this day, the idea that déjà vu is a phenomenon caused by the existence of parallel universes is still an incredibly popular notion. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now. Number 19. The Unidentified Man. On December 1st, 1948, an unidentified man was discovered dead on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. His body was found leaning against the seawall with a burnt cigarette on his chest. The man was dressed incredibly strange. He was wearing a suit and polished shoes, an outfit that didn't quite fit with the beach. The man had no identification or belongings except for a scrap of paper with the word "Tamam Shud" printed on it, which translates to ended or finished in Persian. This scrap of paper would lead investigators down a rabbit hole of intrigue and speculation, and the case remains unsolved to this day. The investigation into the Somerton man's death began with an autopsy, which revealed that he had ingested a lethal dose of poison. However, the cause of his death was not the only strange thing about his case. The man's identity was also unknown, and there were no clues to suggest who he was or why he was on the beach. Investigators combed through missing person reports, checked with hospitals and morgues, and even sent his fingertips to international law enforcement agencies, but to no avail. There were plenty of theories about the Somerton man's identity and the circumstances surrounding his death. Some have speculated that he was a spy, possibly involved in the Cold War, and that the code in the book was a message. Others have suggested that he was the victim of a love affair gone wrong, or that he was an extraterrestrial, given the mystery surrounding his identity and the cipher found in the book. Despite numerous attempts to uncover the truth, the case remains unsolved, and the identity and fate of the Somerton man may never be known. No one ever claimed to know the Somerton man. To this day, many believe that the man came from a parallel universe. Perhaps in a different universe, his family has searched endlessly for him. What do you think about this case? Was the Somerton man really from a parallel universe? Or was he simply a person who got mixed up in bad business? Let me know your opinions in the comments down below. Number 18. I stopped existing. A user on Reddit shared his experience about his possible brush with a parallel universe. The incident happened in 2009. He was 16 years old, and it was the first weekend of summer. He made plans with his friend to go out that afternoon. He had time to spare before the two of them were supposed to meet up, so he went downstairs to the basement to watch TV. Strangely enough, not even 10 minutes later, his mother went down to the basement, asking him where he had been the entire day. When he told his mother that he had been in the basement since he woke up, she claimed she didn't see him when she checked hours before. For some strange reason, the man stopped existing for an entire day. To this day, the man remembers this bone-chilling experience. Unfortunately, he has no answers about what really happened. Comments on the post posed several theories about what could have happened to him that day, from an alien abduction to acute memory loss. But the most popular theory was that the man slipped into a parallel universe. Number 17. The Man from Torrid. The Man from Torrid is a popular story that allegedly occurred in July 1954 at the Haneda Airport in Tokyo, Japan. The story goes that a man arrived at the airport one afternoon. There wasn't anything strange about the man. However, when officials looked at his passport, they were surprised to see that the man was from a country that didn't exist, Torrid. The man claimed that Torrid was a nation between France and Spain, a country that had existed for years. He said he was a businessman who had traveled to Japan several times previously using the same passport. He spoke fluent French, Japanese, and several other languages. He had currency from different European countries in his wallet. The officials were suspicious of him and thought he might be a smuggler or a spy. They asked him to point out Torrid on a map, but he couldn't find it. Instead, he pointed to an area where Andorra is located. He seemed confused and angry when he saw that his country was not there. He demanded a different map to show his country existed, but of course there was no such thing. The officials decided to detain him for further investigation. They took him to a hotel room near the airport and placed 2 guards outside his door. They also confiscated his passport and other documents. The next day, when they returned to question him again, they found that he had disappeared. His room was locked from the inside, and there was no sign of him escaping through the window or any other way. His passport and documents were also gone. No one knows what happened to him or where he came from. Some people believe that he was a time traveler or an interdimensional traveler who somehow slipped into our world by mistake. Others think that he was a secret agent who used a fake passport and managed to escape with some help. Torrid is a place that does not exist, or perhaps it simply exists in a different universe from ours. No one heard about the Man from Torrid ever again, but there are a lot of theories surrounding his origin. What do you think? Do you believe in parallel universes or time travel? Have you ever heard of any other strange stories like this one? Let me know in the comments below. Number 16. Backwards Universe. NASA scientists have made a groundbreaking discovery that could change our understanding of the universe. Using a balloon-borne experiment called the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or ANITA, the team detected evidence of particles that could originate from a parallel universe. The experiment was conducted in Antarctica, where the researchers could avoid interference from radio noise. The ANITA detected tau neutrinos, which are heavier particles that typically flow up from out of the Earth. This finding is significant because high-energy particles typically only arrive by dropping onto Earth from outer space. The discovery of these particles traveling backward in time implies the existence of a parallel universe where the rules of physics are the opposite of our own. It's important to note that this discovery doesn't guarantee the existence of a parallel universe. However, it's compelling evidence that multiple universes might be out there. Number 15. Strange Encounter. This is a story of a man who claimed he saw the same guy multiple times throughout his life. It all started when he was 17. He saw a guy a couple years older than him. They encountered each other at the most random times and at the strangest locations. This continued until he was 38 years old. At some point, he asked the guy if he was actively following him, but the other merely shrugged and claimed he was just as weirded out. Quite a haunting experience, don't you think? Number 14. Cosmic Inflation. Cosmic inflation is a theory in modern cosmology that suggests that the universe underwent an exponential expansion during the first few seconds after the Big Bang. This rapid expansion, which is believed to have occurred faster than the speed of light, would have smoothed out any irregularities in the early universe, creating a uniform distribution of matter and energy. This uniformity is precisely what is observed in the cosmic microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang, which I'll talk more about later. The theory of cosmic inflation not only explains the uniformity of the cosmic microwave background radiation, but also provides the possible basis for the existence of parallel universes. According to the theory, the exponential expansion of the universe could have created a multiverse, or a collection of universes, each with its own set of physical laws and properties. Number 13. The Mandela Effect. The Mandela Effect is a phenomenon where a large group of people remembers an event or fact differently from how it actually occurred. The name comes from the belief that many people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, when in fact, he was released in 1990 and died in 2013. The Mandela Effect has become a popular topic of discussion in recent years, with many people questioning their memories and the nature of reality itself. A popular example of the Mandela Effect is the famous movie quote, "Luke, I am your father," from Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Many people remember this line being spoken exactly as written, but in fact, the line in the movie is, "No, I am your father." This slight difference has caused confusion and debate among fans of the franchise. Signs, posters, and names of popular franchises and brands are also often confused by people due to the Mandela Effect. Some people believe this is because, in some way, we're all in a matrix stuck between universes. Who knows? You might be switching from one universe to another every hour, and you might not even notice. Number 12. Dying in another dimension. Now, perhaps this is the most haunting experience that proves the idea of a parallel universe. A woman claimed that she experienced her other self dying. While the woman and her mother were driving on the highway, a semi-truck swerved into their lane. Fortunately, her mother managed to get out of the truck way before it could hit them. She was alive and safe, but seconds after the heart-stopping encounter, she tasted blood and smelled the pungent smell of gasoline. It was almost as if she experienced what could have happened if her mother didn't manage to avoid the truck. Number 11. The Cloud City of China. In 2015, people in China woke up to a stunning vision in the sky. A floating city. Hidden behind the clouds was a floating island with massive structures that looked like a bustling city. However, many believe it was nothing but a hoax or a strange vision caused by a phenomenon known as Fata Morgana. Fata Morgana is a complex optical phenomenon that has fascinated people for centuries. It's a mirage that appears as a distorted image of distant objects or landscapes, often appearing as a shimmering or floating image. The phenomenon has been observed in many parts of the world, most commonly in hot and dry regions, where there's a sharp contrast between warm air near the ground and cooler air above. Fata Morgana is caused by the bending of light rays as they pass through layers of air with different densities, resulting in a refractive index gradient. This gradient causes the light rays to bend and distort, creating an image that appears to be floating above the actual object. The mirage can also create multiple images of the same object, appearing as a series of stacked images or a cascading waterfall effect. The name Fata Morgana comes from a figure in Arthurian legend, the sorceress Morgana Le Fay, known for her illusions and magical powers. The phenomena was named after her because of its mysterious and otherworldly appearance. While Fata Morgana may be seen like a harmless phenomenon, it can also be quite a dangerous thing to experience in some situations. In some cases, the mirage can be so convincing that it can lead to accidents or confusion, such as in the case of a ship navigating through a mirage of an island only to realize it was an illusion. Fata Morgana has also been used in art and literature to symbolize illusion and deception, representing the idea that things are not always what they seem. As compelling as this theory is, many believe the floating city is part of another world. Perhaps the Matrix glitched, rendering a chunk of a different universe in our skies. Who knows? Number 10. Death of Other Self. A man shared a story of his bizarre experiences. It was about the death of himself or his other self 2 years ago. It was late in the evening when he received a phone call from his neighbor asking him for help to move a mattress. When he came over, the two quickly finished moving the mattress, but his friend also asked for his help to move the wardrobe. The two carried the wardrobe upstairs, with his friend going first. In a split second, his friend's hand slipped, and the weight of the wardrobe pushed him down and crushed him to death. He blacked out, and when he came to, it was almost as if he was transported back several hours before his supposed death occurred. He received the same call from his friend, and he went over to help him move the mattress. When he mentioned the wardrobe, his friend was bewildered as he had never mentioned it over the phone. He told his friend about the strange experience, but they never figured out what really happened. Number 9. A different life. A person on Reddit shared that she believes she's been living a different life and somehow transported to a different universe. After waking up one day, the life she knew before was now different. The neighborhood, the people, everything was different. Many commented that perhaps she was a victim of carbon monoxide poisoning or was having a mental episode, but she claimed that neither of the two was possible. Number 8. False memories. Memory is one of the most fascinating and mysterious aspects of human cognition. We rely on our memories to recall events from our past. to form our sense of identity and to guide our decisions and actions. But how accurate are our memories? And what happens when we remember things that never happened? Is there a reason why this occurs in the first place? A false memory is a distorted or fabricated recollection of an event that did not actually occur. False memories can range from trivial details such as misremembering where you left your keys to more serious and consequential ones, such as falsely accusing someone of a crime. False memories are not just simple memory errors or lapses. They involve a high level of confidence and conviction in the validity of the memory, even when there's no evidence or corroboration to support it. False memories are not about forgetting or confusing details of things that we experienced. They're about creating new details or events that we never experienced in the first place. Some believe false memories are actually a result of our other selves accidentally mixing their memories with ours. Number 7. Wrong head count. It's tough being a father, especially when the universe decides to mess with you. In 2019, a man turned to the internet for help to figure out what happened to his 5th child, or if he even had 5 kids to begin with. The man, who was a single father, claimed he always took care of 4 kids, but like a switch, he began feeling as if he had a 5th child. In every head count, the man expected a 5th child to speak up, even though he only had 4 children. For some strange reason, he always felt like someone was missing. That wasn't the end of the story. Shortly after the strange feeling began, the man's parents sent $500 as a gift to their grandchildren. Each grandchild would get exactly $100. What's odd is that there were only 4 children. When the man confronted his parents about why they sent $500, they simply laughed it off and claimed he should keep the extra money. The man's parents blamed their age for their failing memory. However, the man still couldn't rid himself of the feeling that somehow he had a 5th child who glitched out of their family's life. Number 6. The London Hammer. Now let's look at the most intriguing and controversial artifact ever found and how it might be compelling evidence supporting the existence of parallel universes. This is the London Hammer. This seemingly ordinary tool has sparked a heated debate among archaeologists, creationists, and skeptics over its origin, age, and significance. Is it a genuine out-of-place artifact that challenges conventional history? Or is it just a hoax or a misinterpretation of natural processes? Does this hammer really prove the existence of parallel universes? The London Hammer was discovered in 1936 by a couple named Max and Emma Hahn near London, Texas. They were hiking along Red Creek when they noticed a strange rock with a wooden handle sticking out. They took it home and kept it as a curiosity for over a decade. In 1947, their son broke open the rock out of curiosity and revealed something unexpected: the iron head of a hammer. The hammer was about 6 inches long and 1 inch wide, with an iron head that showed no rust. The wooden handle was partially carbonized, suggesting it had been burned or buried in coal. The hammer attracted little attention until 1983, when it was featured in an article by creationist John Morris in the Bible Science newsletter. Morris claimed that the hammer was embedded in Ordovician rock that dated back to 400 million years ago, long before humans existed. He argued that this was evidence of a pre-flood civilization with advanced technology and metalworking skills. He also suggested that the hammer had been preserved by a cataclysmic event such as Noah's flood. The article caught the eye of another creationist named Carl Baugh, who bought the hammer from the Hans and displayed it in his Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose, Texas. Baugh promoted the hammer as proof of his young Earth theory, which maintains that Earth and all of life was created by God about 6,000 years ago. He also claimed that he had tested the hammer in a laboratory and found that it had unusual proportions of iron, chlorine, and sulfur, which indicated a supernatural origin. However, not everyone was convinced by Baugh's claims. Many skeptics and scientists challenged his assertions and pointed out several flaws in his reasoning. For one, there's no evidence that the rock containing the hammer is actually Ordovician or 400 million years old. What's more reasonable is that the hammer itself is consistent with typical American tools manufactured in the late 19th or early 20th century. Its design resembles a miner's hammer used for breaking rocks or ore samples. It is possible that someone dropped or discarded the hammer near Red Creek, and later it became encased in old concretion. The chemical composition of the iron head also does not indicate anything unusual or supernatural about its origin. The presence of chlorine and sulfur could be explained by contamination from groundwater or soil minerals during concretion formation or later weathering. In conclusion, there's no compelling reason to believe that the London Hammer is anything more than an ordinary tool from recent history that became encased in concretion by natural processes over time. But despite these facts, many believe the London Hammer is proof that a parallel universe exists. A universe where humans discovered metallurgy earlier, What do you think? Number 5. The cold spot. The cosmic microwave background, or CMB, is the oldest light in the universe, left over from the Big Bang over 13 billion years ago. It's a faint glow of radiation that fills our entire universe. Currently, it tells scientists a lot more information about the universe's history and composition. In 2004, scientists studying the CMB made a stunning discovery. They discovered a vast region of the universe, which they called the CMB cold spot. The CMB cold spot is a region of the universe where the temperature of the CMB is about 0.00015 degrees Celsius cooler than the average temperature. This may not seem like much, but it's a significant deviation. The cold spot was first identified on a map of the CMB produced by the Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe, a NASA satellite launched in 2001 to study the CMB. The discovery of the cold spot was unexpected. According to the standard model of cosmology, the universe should be uniform on large scales. In simpler terms, the temperature of the CMB should be the same in all directions. However, the cold spot defies this assumption. This suggests that something unusual may be happening in that region of the universe. Scientists have proposed several theories to explain the cold spot. One possibility is that it's a statistical fluke, a random variation in the CMB that looks like a cold spot. However, this explanation seems unlikely, given the size and persistence of the cold spot. Another possibility is that the cold spot is the result of a void in the universe, a region where there are fewer galaxies and less matter than expected. This would cause the CMB to be colder because there would be less matter to heat it up. However, this explanation is also controversial because it's unclear how such a large void could form in the early universe. A more compelling explanation, however, is that the cold spot is the result of a collision between our universe and another universe. This theory is based on the idea that the cold spot is located in a region where there's a large void between galaxy clusters. According to this theory, the void may have been created by a collision with another universe, which would have caused a gravitational collision that pushed matter out of the way, creating the void. An oddity in our universe could mean anything, and the cold spot, until we get to learn more about it, remains to be a possible gateway to a universe that is so similar yet so different from ours. Number 4. A glimpse of the future. Surely you've been asked this cliché question before. What would you say to your younger or older self if you got the chance to meet them? Well, a woman on Reddit shared her bizarre experience. In 2021, while on her way back to work, the woman saw a couple standing on the opposite platform of the train station. Her eyes naturally diverted toward the two because of the woman's similarity to herself. The couple was also speaking the woman's native language, an uncommon thing as the woman was living in a foreign country. It was unusual for her to find someone from the same country as her. But the strangest thing is that the woman standing across from her was like an exact replica of herself, except the stranger looked 10 years older. She had the exact same features, and she also had a tattoo, the very same design the Redditor wanted to get in the future. The woman claimed she locked eyes with whom she thought was her older self before the train passed. However, the strangeness of the situation didn't end there. The man beside her older self looked like the older version of her current boyfriend. It's up to you to decide whether you find this experience heartwarming or bone-chilling. Number 3. The Hadron Collider. A Hadron Collider is a massive particle accelerator built to test the predictions of various theories in particle physics, high-energy physics, or nuclear physics by colliding hadrons. A hadron is a subatomic particle made of quarks and gluons, such as protons and neutrons. This particle accelerator uses electric fields to speed up and steer particles along a path, usually in a circular or oval shape. A collider makes two beams of particles travel in opposite directions and smash into each other at very high speeds, creating new particles and energy. In much simpler terms, the Hadron Collider, or the LHC, is a circular tunnel filled with magnets that accelerates protons around it. The protons gain speed and momentum by switching the magnets on and off rapidly. The collider makes each proton collide with the other, and as they do, detectors capture images of them. Quite simple. I mean, not really, but the collider gives us a lot of scientific knowledge, so it's worth understanding all this jargon. The Hadron Collider helps us explore the fundamental nature of matter and energy and answer some of the biggest questions in science. For example, what are the smallest building blocks of matter? How did the universe begin? What are dark matter and dark energy? How do different forces interact with each other? By colliding hadrons at very high energies, we can recreate the conditions that existed shortly after the Big Bang, when matter was very hot and dense. We can also discover new particles predicted by various theories, but have not been observed yet. Currently, The largest and most powerful Hadron Collider in the world is the Large Hadron Collider. Quite a befitting name, don't you think? It's located near Geneva, Switzerland, across the border between France and Switzerland. It was built by CERN between 1998 and 2008, in collaboration with over 10,000 scientists, hundreds of universities and laboratories, and more than 100 countries. It consists of a 27-kilometer ring of superconducting magnets, with many accelerating structures to boost the energy of the particles along the way. So far, we've discovered many things thanks to this large collider. We've confirmed quarks as elementary particles, discovered gluons as carriers of strong force, discovered exotic particles like pentaquarks, tetraquarks, and weird particles called glue balls, and a lot more incredibly sciencey and technical stuff. But one of the things it helped us learn much more about is antimatter. Antimatter sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's actually real and very fascinating. Antimatter is basically like ordinary matter, except that it has the opposite charge of ordinary matter. For instance, an electron has a negative charge, and a positron has a positive charge, but they both have the same mass. They're called antiparticles of each other. Antimatter is something that is incredibly rare in our universe, because whenever it meets normal matter, they annihilate each other and release a lot of energy. This happens because matter and antimatter have opposite properties, so they can't coexist peacefully. However, several experts believe there is a universe parallel to us, an antimatter universe that works parallel to ours. Number 2. Missing for days. This is the story of a woman who claimed to have experienced a parallel universe. In January 2015, while pregnant with her first child, she woke up to her husband's frantic cries asking where she had disappeared to. The last thing she remembered was tossing out their dinner leftovers. Meanwhile, her husband had left to repair his car. When he returned, he couldn't find her and immediately contacted the police. Despite their efforts, they couldn't find any leads on her whereabouts. 3 days later, her husband found her asleep in their bed, still wearing her nightgown. Although the couple never figured out what happened, the woman believes she somehow slipped into an alternate dimension on the days when she disappeared. Many of the commenters on the post offered alternate theories, such as carbon monoxide poisoning, or urged her to try hypnotherapy to account for the lost time or recall memories of being in an alternate dimension. Quite a spooky experience, don't you think? And now it's time for today's topic. There have been a lot of terrifying signals from parallel universes that scientists cannot explain. This strange photo may look like an ordinary shot of a child with a man wearing a monster costume, but its backstory is quite bone-chilling. The child claimed she couldn't recall taking a photo with a mascot. She couldn't even remember a single thing about it. While it's normal to forget some of your childhood memories, it was incredibly unusual for the child not to remember even going to the location. What's more, none of the child's relatives remember the mascot either. And yet somehow, the photo exists. Could it be a photo from a parallel universe? As always, comment down below with the hashtag today's topic and let us know your opinion about what we just showed on screen. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 1. Black holes. A black hole is a region in space where the gravitational force is incredibly strong, so much so that even light cannot escape it. These cosmic entities form when massive stars exhaust their fuel and collapse under their own gravity, forming an object so compact that it generates an intense gravitational field. This pull is so powerful that anything that approaches the black hole is inevitably drawn in, including light. The event horizon marks the boundary around a black hole beyond which nothing can escape, and anything that enters it is lost forever as it's swallowed by the black hole. The event horizon's size depends on the black hole's mass, with a larger mass resulting in a more significant event horizon. Although black holes remain enigmatic and mysterious, scientists have attempted to understand them by studying their impact on nearby stars and gases, and by detecting gravitational waves, which are ripples in space-time created by the collision of massive objects, including black holes. Black holes are mysterious objects that scientists are still trying to understand. Despite their ominous reputation, black holes are not a threat to Earth. The closest known black hole to our solar system is several thousand light-years away and poses no danger to us. However, they are fascinating objects that challenge our understanding of the universe and the laws of physics. For instance, many believe that black holes are portals to the past, or rather, a parallel universe. However, it's tough to confirm any theories about black holes. Perhaps in the future, we'll be able to discover the truth behind these strange regions in the universe. So, did your opinion about parallel universes change after watching this video? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.